leaders and dream team. And how is No Shave November going for you guys? It's going pretty well for me. What about you ladies? Doing the No Shave November? Just messing. My wife actually likes to call it No Kiss November. So yeah, I'm having to deal with that right now. But anyways, just wanted to say, first of all, I didn't do a 60-second win video this week because I wanted to do one of these, which is I'm going to start doing these more often, which is a leadership kind of development video. And this is for you to take time, whether it's 15 to 20 minutes, just to sit down, take notes, fill out the answer sheet that I'll send you for these. But I want to do a better job of making sure that from the top down, people are being fed, being led effectively and efficiently. One of the things I just want to start off by saying, this past week, I do want to share a few wins that, man, it was phenomenal. I feel like it was a phenomenal response to the message. Our attendance is being steadily climbing each week. We continue to see new people come in our door, new people serving, which is so key. New people serving. And if you know people that are interested in being an owner of our church, of course, this Sunday is ownership, 9 a.m. So make sure that we get that information out there. You guys tweet it, Facebook post. Man, this Sunday was awesome. We had 7 salvations, and 2 of those students that gave their heart and life to Jesus were some of Kim's family who were visiting from Indianapolis. Had some of their family visit. Of course, they were in for the funeral. Man, this weekend we saw from the high school FCA Friday morning to the funeral Saturday and Sunday. I would dare say we had almost 100, if not more, people saved this weekend through an extension of people at our church, people reaching out, people being willing to be at FCA on Friday, the people that reached out and loved on Kim's family. All of that, I want you to know, that has nothing to do with me or my ability to speak or anything like that, but it has to do with the people of this church who are willing to reach out and love people. I want you to know that impact could have led to them being responsive to the gospel. And that just goes to show that everything that we do on Sunday mornings matters, church. Everything. And so even the kids that visit from Indianapolis, they told their parents, 4 hours isn't too long to drive on the weekend to come to church. I mean, they want to be here every weekend. And so, guys, that's a huge testament to the kids' ministry, to the VIP team, everybody that made Kim's family feel welcome. Thank you so much. So it was a huge Sunday for us as we went through part 4 of Modern Family. We're finishing out this week. But I want to take a minute and just say, number one, this year, it has been a trying year. It's been a year of frustration for me, and I know for many of you leaders, because we have seemed to have hit a wall in some senses. And I want you to know that I take full responsibility. I'm not going to blame anybody else. I'm not going to, make excuses. I feel like maybe I distance myself too much from some of the leadership because, I'm trying to empower, I'm trying to raise up top-level leaders, and it's been frustrating. And so I take full responsibility and all that, but here's what I want you to know. I'm not going to roll over and whine and make excuses. Church, there is still a huge vision and a huge mission that God has called us to do. And man, you're probably going to see me being more in your face lately. You're probably going to see me keeping people accountable through email, everything. I'm going to have my nose in people's business until we get our teams running efficiently and effectively to continue to reach people and bring people in. So this isn't a bad thing or a negative thing. It's just something that should fire every single one of you up, because I can't wait to share more vision coming up. December 7th, of course, is our next encounter, and we're going to be doing things a little bit different, and it's going to be awesome. You don't want to miss December 7th. This is for everybody on the Dream Team. We do these once a quarter, and they're geared strictly for the Dream Team, for me to cast vision, for you to know what's going on as a church, and to be a part of being included in the future and know what's happening. So we got a lot of stuff going on, including many of you already know. The only reason why we haven't made it public is because we're still working through a lot of kinks or details. But we are going to be moving to a gym setup. Now, this will either be at Wiseman, or we have just recently had conversations with people at Gateview. And this is for several reasons. If we move to Gateview, we have a few employees that we're talking to right now that if they are willing to open and close the school up for us for free, we could save upwards around $22,000 a year. Yeah. So this is going to be huge for us. So there is a great, probably 90% possibility that we will be making a move to Gateview Elementary. There's a ton of pluses on this too. Number one, we're looking to do away with Saturday setup. We're looking to come in early Sunday morning. Now, I know that some of you are like, wow, I don't want to get up that early, but here's the cool thing. Because of the gym space and allowing more seating, we're going to go back to 2 services for a while, until God grows that out, and then we start having to add another service. So just because we go back to 2 services, I don't want people thinking, oh yes, we're going to be at 2 services forever. No, our goal is to be able to go back to 3 services, but we're going to change our service times to 9:30 and 11. Regardless of which school we'll be in, that's going to be our service times. So I want you to be excited about that, and that's going to start right after Christmas. We're going to make the move at Christmas to one of those locations. But I'm just kind of giving you some details right now. Like I said, I will give all of the exact details. I'm going to actually do it in front of the church on the 23rd. So we're going to try to have everything lined out by then, so that way people know what's going on and can be prepared for what God's going to do. I am super excited because it's going to give everybody their Saturdays back. We're going to have to work harder on Sundays. But, I think that if we all have the mindset of getting in there, getting things taken care of, and realize, man, that we're here to reach people who are far from God, then it's going to be better on our entire team. So I kind of spent too much time on that stuff, but I want to go over real quick. I did this lesson with our pastors last week, and I've actually attached the worksheet to your email, so you should have the worksheet as well. If not, please make sure that maybe you get that from Nettie. And so I do want you guys to fill in the blanks. So just hopefully when you're watching this, you have maybe 15 minutes just to take some notes and kind of walk through this with me, because I really think this is going to help strengthen our leaders and strengthen the people in our team. And so this lesson is called the 360-degree leadership. Now, if you're interested in reading a book on this, John Maxwell, who is a great author on leadership, he actually wrote an entire book on this very subject called 360-degree leadership. So if you got your worksheet in front of you, we're going to be going through this, and I'll be talking to you about some of this stuff. And I encourage you, share this video with your teams, share this video with the Dream Team. Make sure people are being, fed and increasing in their ability to lead and in their knowledge, because that's what's going to make us stronger if we're all doing this together and wanting to be better. I think all of us want to be better leaders, and we want better teams. And so some of you are going to really relate to the stuff that we're talking about, because some of you are going through it now, or you've been through it. And so I hope that you're going to be sitting here as you're taking notes going, yep, that's me, that's what we're going through. And so hopefully you're ready to take notes. So here's what I want you to know about 360-degree leadership. Number one, a frustrated team is an unproductive team. And I think some of you know, if you're in a team right now that's frustrated, whether it's lack of communication, whether it's just lack of passion, whatever it may be, this leads to unproductivity. And so I think some of you may understand that. So here's the result of a frustrated team. There's a lack of unity and a lack of leadership. Like I said, I think some of you understand that because you've been through that, you know that. The second thing is frustrated teams do less. So we see a lack of unity in leadership, and we see unproductiveness happen within our teams and within our ministries. And so we want to eliminate the frustratedness in our teams and see people become more productive, more passionate about what they do. So we're going to be talking about leading down, leading sideways, and leading up. That's 360 degrees leadership. Okay, so we're going to first talk about leading down. There is a pressure that leaders carry. If you lead a team or a ministry, some of our pastors, they lead several ministries, and some of you need to keep that in mind, that some of them carry a burden that's really hard to bear when they're leading so many teams, and some of them do it without being paid or being paid very little. So always keep that in mind. But leading down, there's a pressure leaders carry. And here's the thing, leaders. We can either share that pressure, or we can buckle under the weight of it. And some of you, what you've experienced is not because you have too much on your plate that has been given to you. You have too much on your plate that you're unwilling to let go of. And you've got to be able to share that weight of leadership. So every person on a team has an opportunity to lead. Every single person. And so here's 5 words that I want you to write down and think of when it comes to leading down. So number 1 is teach. Teach. Too often and this happens all the time, we assume everyone knows what they need to be doing. People need to know the why they do what they do. Never send down instructions without explaining the why. Never. And when we do that, all we're doing is commanding people instead of leading them. Always share the whys. Andy Stanley, who is a great pastor, author, leader, he says that vision drift in an organization or church happens every 6 weeks. 6 weeks. And so you have to understand that just the time that you think you're getting it, or some of the people on your team are getting it that have been there for a long time, we've got new people coming in our doors. We have new people coming in our teams. We always have to be reminding people of the why. The moment that people are going, oh my gosh, you've said that 100 times, that's the moment they're finally getting it. So always explain the whys. Teach people the whys. They also need to know if they're going in the wrong direction or the right direction. As a leader, if you lead a team or a ministry, do you constantly evaluate and share? Do you encourage and correct? We're going to be talking about some of that stuff throughout this lesson, but they need to, here's your mentality as a leader, is that everybody you lead should think like I think and want what I want. That's exactly should be your mentality, is that, I've been to churches where you feel like, man, they have cloned everybody. I don't know if you've ever been to some of these churches that are doing it and doing it well, man. They're growing. They're seeing thousands of people saved, baptized, and it seems like every staff member, every person that serves has the same attitude, the same mentality, the same passion. That doesn't come naturally. That doesn't come by osmosis. It comes by people who constantly understand that, man, if I'm leading somebody, I want them to think as I think and want what I want. And that comes with understanding the whys. So if you're going to teach somebody, you've got to get shoulder to shoulder with them. It's in those moments that they learn how you lead and how you want things done. So remember to teach. The second thing about leading down. So we're talking about you leading people that maybe serve under you. The second thing is equip. Define the win. We have talked about this so much, and yet people still don't understand that if they're serving on a team, does everybody on your team understand their win for a Sunday morning? If not, that is a failure on your part as a leader to continue to define that win, to equip them to understand not only why they're doing what they're doing, but what result you want from what they're doing. So here's the thing. Resource the things that you demand. Too often we ask our teams to do things without resourcing them. One of the things that I've asked Dania with the production team, anytime we have people come up on stage and do the opening or do offering talks, go online, watch some of New Spring Church's worship services. You can watch the entire worship service from beginning to end, the music, everything. You can watch some of them open a service, do an offering talk. These are examples, these are resources for free that you can go online and say, hey, how can I become a better communicator from the stage? How can I do the welcome a lot better? These are examples of how leaders can resource their people. They can go online and find things that's going to enhance what they do. That's resourcing what you expect. If you ask your team to accomplish something, but don't actually give them the resources to accomplish it, that's just cruel, right? And so make sure you're resourcing what you're asking. Here's the thing, that there's 3 things that you need to be. The AVV. You ready? AVV. Available, valuable, and visible. Always remember that. You need to be available to your team, valuable to your team, and make sure you communicate value to them, and visible. So they need to see you doing what you expect. When they do that, that's when they're going to start doing the things that you want and thinking like you think. So the third thing, we got teach, equip, now you got listen. Your most valuable resource as a leader is your ability to listen. If you're going to do the hard work of leadership, use your time to talk to them. Some will talk, some won't. Ask questions. A lot of times if we're communicating with maybe an introverted person on our team, we ask the ground level questions and we're just like, hey, how you doing? Fine. And that's the extent of it. Instead of digging deeper and saying, hey, is there anything that you're frustrated about on this team? Is there anything that I'm not communicating well as your leader? I want to be better and I want to help make you better. How many times do you have those conversations? Or do you have those conversations with somebody else complaining about the people that aren't doing what you expect? And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So make sure that you are listening to your people. Give them an outlet to say, okay, here's some things that I have questions about, and be ready to answer those questions. So number 4, manage. Manage. Manage enough to achieve the win, not micromanage. There's a difference between empowering and being guilty of negligence. Remember that. If you micromanage, here's what you communicate to your team. I don't need you. And that happens a lot. I've seen it. We have a lot of people who are hard workers. I mean, maybe that's how you grew up, man. You just busted it. You didn't care what anybody else did. You just went and got the job done. And that sounds heroic, but what you end up doing is you end up becoming the only person doing it. And that is not our mission here. Our mission is to include as many people as possible and empower them to do ministry. We should be okay with saying, hey, you know what, if I'm not there or if I remove myself from this situation, I have trained up and equipped a team to do it just the way I would do it. That is a win. Manage that team, but don't micromanage. And so if you communicate to them that you don't need your team, you're only going to get as much done as you can do. And let's face it, we can get a lot more done as a team than we can with one individual. So you want to manage to the point that your team is winning, which is what I'm having to do now. That's what I'm doing as your pastor, as your leader. I've got to come back down and manage a few things a little bit more because I want to get us to where we are winning, and then teach other leaders to manage as well. So that's managed. Number 5, fifth thing in leading down is love. Oh my goodness, this is the most simple thing, right? The only reason why you should want to be in leadership is because you love people and you want to see them accomplish more than you ever could. That's the whole point of leadership. If you're in leadership for any other reason, or you aspire to be in leadership for any other reason, then get out now. Because you should love people and want to see them accomplish more than you could. So if you're loving them and leading down, they should never have to wonder or worry about 4 things. You ready? Clear vision. They should never have to wonder or worry about clear vision. They should never have to worry or be concerned about encouragement. Are you encouraging your teams? Being empowered. Number 3, being empowered. And number 4, whether or not they are protected. That is something you should always be defending your teams, being there for them, making sure that they are protected in all situations. So clear vision, encouragement, being empowered, whether or not they are protected. Those are the things they should never have to worry about or wonder about if you're loving them and leading down effectively. So that's leading down. We're going to jump to leading sideways. I know some of this is kind of coming at you fast, but go back, stop the video, pause the video, write down stuff if you have to, write your own notes. But hopefully you'll take the time to do this. Leading sideways. This is leading with someone, not over someone. Can you put leadership pressure on the people that work beside you? Not only on the people that serve under you, but what about the people that serve beside you? Can you help? Can you get them to carry that pressure with you? This is leading sideways. So here are 3 things when it comes to leading sideways. Number 1, reflect. Reflect. Go look in the mirror and ask this question. Is this more about me or is it about them? Our personal preferences can come out sometimes when it comes, and listen, when it comes about your personal preferences and your agenda, then you will become a tyrant and a leader that no one respects. And so when it comes to leading sideways, always reflect, am I upset or am I frustrated because I'm wanting things done according to my personal preferences and what I like or don't like? Or am I really concerned about the people around me and making sure that their likes and dislikes are taken into consideration and that it matches the vision and mission of our church? So, are you accomplishing mission with a godly attitude? It's not enough just to come in and have enough people serving in VIP or in kids or to set up and tear down. But if we're doing those things with poor attitudes, complaining, and ungratefulness, then we're never going to accomplish what God wants us to accomplish. Because in the end, all we're going to do is create a bunch of grumpy people who feel like they're just doing tasks or work. And that's not what this is about. This is kingdom business. We get to be a part of helping grow the kingdom of God. If you have not figured that out yet, please do a reality check and realize this isn't a factory. This isn't just some job. This is way more important than anything we'll ever do in our lives. And that's building the kingdom of God. So always reflect. Number 2, talk. And this is key because I think there's a lot of this going on in our teams too. Talk to the person, not about the person. I get so tired of seeing this happen with our teams. We live in a culture that is terrified to talk to people. We make ourselves feel better as a leader by talking about them instead of having the tough conversations. This is a key phrase. I want you to get this. Talking to the person will bring forth change. Talking about the person is gossip and will send you to hell. You can tweet that if you want to. Put that on Facebook. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Whatever you want to do. Probably not the last one. But anyways. So make sure that we are talking to people. If we have issues, if there's frustrations, if there's miscommunication, talk to somebody. Talk to the person that you're having these miscommunications or frustrations with until you get down to something that's going to bring forth change. Not just, hey, I'm upset. You've done me wrong. And so you can always have a mentor or a pastor to bounce things off of, but not other people. Always remember that. So talk to the person, not about the person. Number 3, here's that word again, love. And this is what every single believer should remember when it comes into conflict or leading people, is love assumes the best. Love assumes the best. Always go in with the attitude that I'm probably wrong or you're probably wrong, not just me. But if you have a situation with somebody, go in with the attitude saying, I'm probably wrong. That will always diffuse possible bitterness moments and allows us to see others' point of view. And this is so huge because so many of us cannot do this. And that is a heart issue. And so if this is something that you deal with and it's something that you suck at it, to be honest, it's something that you just like, man, I can't talk, I just get so mad, I get so bitter. I want you to know that there is something wrong spiritually. And you need to ask Jesus to help you with that. So always love people. Leading up. So we're almost finished. Hang in there. This is the most difficult yet the most vital. If you're too close to the person, it's hard to see stuff at times. Every pastor and every leader should have people that if I'm leading the pastors underneath me, if I'm leading the coordinators underneath me, the full-time staff and the leaders, they have to be able to not be just yes people all the time. And sometimes if they're too close to me, it can be hard to do that because it's hard to see some of those things sometimes. Here's what I want you to know is that I'm not a king. I'm just another player on the team. I told our pastoral staff that the executive team, they are like the offensive line, and I'm the quarterback. I'm not the coach. I'm not the one who calls. God calls all the plays. I am the visionary on the field. I relay that, and then they help me run the plays and help protect me. And so you need to know that if you have pastors over you, you got to have opportunities where you're going to be leading up. You're going to be helping speak into their life a little bit. Doesn't mean you're bossing them around or telling them all the times that they're bad, but there are times that you have to be able to lead up in a godly way. And so if they're the offensive line around me, then the people that lead you, you have to understand that you are the offensive line for them. You're helping protect their vision, their leadership, and you're helping carry that out on the field. And listen, if the offensive line, if the ball is fumbled, does the offensive line just stand there and go, oh man, my job is to block? I'm not the running back, I'm the quarterback. No. Man, those big dudes, they'll fall on the ball. Why? Because it's about the team. Always remember that. So you have to be willing sometimes to give honest feedback. If a leader carries out something or says something, and you feel like maybe it doesn't fall in line with the vision or mission of the church, sometimes you got to be able to give that honest feedback. Say, hey, I'm not sure this is such a good idea. This is what we've kind of had some frustrations with this. Give that feedback. Always think good conversations versus disloyalty. There's a difference between being disloyal and being hard to work with and being rude, and then a person that says, hey, let's have a healthy conversation about this situation. So always remember that. So here are 3 things when it comes to leading up. Number 1, here's this word that is common in all 3, is love. You must love Jesus and this church more than pleasing me or pleasing your leader. That means, Paul even said in the scriptures, he said that if anybody, even me, comes preaching another gospel, he said, discount me, discount them. Sometimes there has to be moments when you say, you know what you said or what you've done, even though you're my leader, man, it hurts the integrity of this church, or it hurts the vision or mission of this church. You got to be willing to have some of those conversations, healthy conversations that bring forth change. But always love Jesus and the church more than pleasing a leader. Number 2, protect. You must protect the vision and mission of this church. That's kind of like what I just talked about, right? You need to be protecting the integrity and character of the pastor, the church, and yourself. Everything you do should have that mindset. And number 3, when it comes to leading up, project. Project unity and confidence towards a leader. If you're always bad-mouthing your pastor or the leader that leads above you, guess what? You're always going to be sowing discord among teams. Here's what I always tell my executive team. I tell them, even if I'm in public and there are things, if somebody comes to me about something that they've said, something they've done, they say, hey, this pastor said this or this, I'm always going to defend them publicly. Now, I might have some tough conversations behind closed doors, but I'm always going to project unity. I'm not going to be like, well, that pastor, they do suck. Or they do have bad. I've got to understand that I've got to project unity. That even in our mistakes, because guess what, we're going to make mistakes. We're always unified. We're always saying, hey, I'm not here to tear that person down or make them look bad. I'm here to help. I'm here to project unity towards that leader. Especially whenever people complain or question decisions, direction, you should always protect those towards leadership. Now, here's the thing. Some of you, you're going to get complaints from people. Some of you are out there, you're serving, maybe in hospitality, first impressions. Your job is not to go, well, I don't know, maybe you should just go talk to the pastor. Your job is to understand and know how to answer the question or know how to project unity. And say, you know what, I'm sorry that you feel that way, but that's just how we do things at this church. We're here to reach the lost. Maybe it's the music's too loud. Maybe it's, whatever it may be, you got to project unity and not throw it off on somebody else. Because that shows that there's not unity and that we're doing our thing, you're doing your thing. We need to be one. So here's the biggest way to be disloyal, is nodding your head in agreement when you believe it's not a good idea. Now, it doesn't mean that when you suggest your ideas, they're always going to get used. But it's one of those things, like, you don't always just want to agree with everything that somebody says. You want to say, hey, well, here's my thoughts on that. So how do you handle difficult conversations? There will be times when not everyone in the room will agree on things. Don't take it personal. Let's say that again. Don't take it personal. Some of us, we wear our hearts on our sleeves, and every little thing that's said or done, we're ready to quit. We're ready to give up. And you can't do that. You can't lead at a high level or lead at any level if you're a constant emotional leader. Don't take things personal. Because you got to understand that we are all striving to accomplish the same mission, not our individual agendas or preferences. So here's the last thing. Everyone who leads needs to be a good communicator. This is so huge. I cannot stress this enough. If you lead a team, I don't care if you lead a team of 5 or you lead a team of 100, only people, listen, here's the only way that you know that you're a good communicator. Is only people on the other side of that communication can determine that. If I ask your teams, hey, is your leader communicating well with you? You might think that you're a good communicator, but they're going to be the ones that say, hey, you know what, they're not communicating with me. So here's the thing you got to ask, can you have a regular conversation, not just a difficult one? How often do you communicate with those that you lead or help lead? Not just to give instruction or improvement, but for encouragement and guidance as well. If the only time you ever talk to your teams is when you schedule them, or when you're telling them something to do, or you're telling them, then you're not being the leader you need to be, because you need to communicate encouragement, you need to communicate vision, and you need to communicate some of these things, besides just telling them what they need to be doing. So, refinement comes through confrontation sometimes. The Bible says that iron sharpens iron, right? We are refined through tough conversations sometimes. Sometimes we have to be able to communicate in those times. If you're not being confronted by the ones who lead you, you're not being led well. And if you're not confronting those you lead, you're not leading well. So a leader challenges people and processes. They don't just become yes people. This is done face to face, not by text or email. So don't thrive off of it, but be willing to do it. You know, some people, they enjoy those conversations way too much. But you should always have their best interest at heart. And listen, you can't control how they'll receive it. You can't. If your attitude is right going in, you'll see the benefits. So guys, please understand that we have to improve in these areas. We've got to become 360-degree leaders, and we've got to create unity in our teams. And I promise you, if you'll put this stuff into practice, you'll start seeing more productive teams. You'll start seeing more encouragement. You'll start seeing more unity, and you'll start seeing more passion. So let's be leaders that lead from all angles, and let's make each other better, and let's strive to make this vision, this mission come to fruition. Guys, I love you. I hope you're having a fantastic week, and I hope that this helped you and encouraged you. Let's build one another up, and let's be ready to go Sunday. Man, let's be ready to go this weekend as we set up, as we prepare for the worship experience. Let's pray and believe that lives will be transformed, souls will be saved, and we'll add more people to our teams. Let's continue to do that and strive to accomplish our mission. Listen, I love you guys. I hope you have a great rest of the week, and I will send you another video soon. God bless. Peace.